What's up YouTube? Brian here, back again with another video, and today we're going to do something a little different. I don't normally do these videos because I don't feel that I'm a super big reel expert. I love reels, I love spinning reels, but this is the first time I think I'm going to really do kind of a breakdown and a first impressions for a reel that I actually haven't gotten to use out on the water yet. So I do apologize. I usually don't do gear reviews until I've actually used the gear extensively, but this particular reel is very tough for people to get their hands on and take a look at in the stores. So I thought I would at least put out a quick video on my initial impressions and maybe drop some information about this reel and let people kind of know what they're getting into if they are shopping for one of these. So the reel in question is the Daiwa Kage MQ LT 3000D-XH. So let's talk about the naming and everything real quick. So MQ stands for Monoclock. This is the body design, the frame design of this particular technology and these reels that Daiwa has been doing. So a little history lesson: the Monoclock design is not new. It's been available in lots of saltwater reels like Van Staal's. There's a lot of companies that have been making monoclock bodied reels, but particularly for the saltwater world. Now, what is monoclock body? So I'm going to leave a link to the description up in the card where a much better reel technician than me, Tackle Advisors, he breaks down the big brother to this reel, which is the Daiwa Surte LT. So I would love you to check his video out, and he's going to actually crack that open and show you kind of a little bit about monoclocks and give you some more information on kind of the innards. But the basic rundown is, unlike your typical reel, like here's your Daiwa Tatula LT, this body design has a side plate. So if you notice, there's 3 screws here. This is a side plate, comes off, lets you get at the gears. The rest of the body is basically three-fourths of the body is made up by the frame. Then you got that last 25%, which is the side plate. So it's essentially a 2-piece design. Now the monoclock is all one machined body, one piece. So there's no seam, there is no split down the middle, there's no side plate. If you notice, there's no screws visible at all on this body. So what does that mean? That means the frame has a lot more rigidity. It's a lot stronger because there's not a side plate. And also, because of the lack of side plate, you can put a much bigger main gear. So if you notice the difference between the body, this is a Daiwa Tatula 3000 and this is a 3000 monoclock Kage. If you can really look at the two next to each other, I mean, this thing's much bigger. Now, we're going to talk about that as far as like weight, but the main point is this has a bigger, stronger aluminum main gear than the equivalent regular like Tatula or even the Daiwa Ballistic LT 3000. So what does that mean? That means you're getting a lot more strength and power out of an MQ style reel. Now, the MQ technology for Daiwa started in the Exist, which is their $700 reel. I'm sorry, $800. I think it's like $799. So you got the Exist, which is like the top of the food chain, started with the monoclock. Then Daiwa, I think a year or two, came out with the Surte update. And so there was a Surte LT that has a monoclock, and that dropped the price down to, I think it was $450. And now the Kage is the third line, or the third reel in the Daiwa family to get this monoclock design. This thing rocks at a $380 price point. Or $370, $380. I think let's say MSRP. Yeah. Okay, so $369.99. So this thing is cheaper than the LT Surte. So the idea is that this technology is starting to like trickle and go down the price point in the Daiwa reel line. Someday will there be a Tatula MQ? I would say probably. If I was a betting man, I would say that this is not the lowest price point that an MQ body design is going to come in at Daiwa. I think they're just slowly getting the technology down to be more and more affordable. And to me, this is cool because I've always wanted to get a monoclock bodied reel, but I've never been able to stomach paying north of $400 for those things. So that's why I went and picked up the Kage. So what makes this reel different than these guys is the body. This is a full Zion body. So if you don't know what Zion means, Zion is a material that Daiwa uses on the reels. You can tell when it's a Zion when there's these long strands in the finish. So you can see that on the body of the Ballistic, and the Tatula are also Zion bodied. So this is all Zion material. It's like a really strong, I think it's a carbon fiber or a fiber, or not carbon fiber, but it's a graphite material that Daiwa uses that's really rigid and also really light. But what's cool on the Surte is the Surte's rotor is also made of Zion. So you're getting the Zion body, you're getting a Zion rotor, which typically is held out in the Daiwa reels. When you get a Zion rotor, it's in the upper price point reel. So when you upgrade and you get the fancier model Daiwa reels, you're getting that Zion rotor. Whereas the rotor on the Ballistic and the Tatula is not Zion. They are just regular, cheaper graphite rotors. So you're getting Zion on the body, but you're not getting Zion on the rotor. Anyway, so that's one of the things you're paying for when you go up to the Kage MQ. A couple other differences is if you notice that this doesn't come in a shallow spool, this is only a D, so it's a deep spool, so you can put a lot of line on this. Now these Kage MQs and the Surtes, I think these are kind of more geared for guys who fight big hard charging fish like say redfish or stripers or snook or you know any kind of like trevally, any kind of inshore salt fish. These reels are really kind of designed for that. Is this complete and utter overkill for freshwater bass fishing? Yes. You do not need a monoclock body to fight 2-3 pound largemouth and smallmouth. It is complete overkill. However, it is cool. So it's interesting technology. So what you're getting is you're getting a Zion body, Zion rotor, these typical aluminum one-piece handle. It's the same handle that comes on the Tatula, as far as I can tell. One thing I noticed though is that the T-grip on the Kage has a little printed Kage, but it is bigger. So what's funny is like let's put these next to each other. If you notice that Kage knob is like it's way bigger than the knob on the LT, which I thought was kind of weird because the first time I spun this thing out of the box, I was like, why does this feel so different? And it's because you got this kind of handle on steroids over here. It's much bigger. One thing I've noticed too is, listen to this. So to me, I bet you Daiwa put bushings in this handle and not actual ball bearings, which sucks. Daiwa has this funny thing of not putting ball bearings in all of their handles. So I haven't actually taken this apart yet, but if you listen, to me, oh, someone's running upstairs. So, to me, that sounds like bushings. So you can see the play in the handle. So that kind of sucks. I wish at this price point, Daiwa would really get this handle kind of dialed in. So I have some more bearings on order. So when I get some bearings in from Amazon or wherever I ordered them from, I'm going to take this handle apart and see if there's bushings under here and try and get this a little tighter and so that it's not making any clicking movement. So that's a big negative. If you're spending almost $400 on a reel, you'd think there would be zero slop or play in the handle because that's what you're touching the whole time, so it's always going to feel weird. You hear that clicking noise, that drives me nuts. So I'm going to be fixing that and upgrading that. Let's talk about weight real quick. Let's get this sucker on the scale. Now, because this is a bigger body, beefier reel, bigger handle, this is going to weigh more than your 3000 version of like the Tatula. So let's pop this on here. So the Tatula comes in at 6.56 ounces, so 6.5 ounces. Now on the box, this actually says 7.6 ounces. So surprisingly, it's actually lighter than that. So the box is overshooting a little bit. So 7.45 ounces. I don't know if you guys can see that, 7.45. So it does come under the 7.6 advertised size. So this is almost an ounce heavier than the Tatula version of the 3000, which I actually like. I bought this reel because I wanted it to go on a spinning rod that to me is a little more tip heavy. And when I put a Ballistic and an LT, Tatula LT on it, it felt a little off balance, just a smidge. And so I'm like, I want a slightly heavier reel, and it gave me a great excuse to go out and pick one of these up. So something that is not listed on the box is this thing comes with a very specific technology. This comes with profit margin maintaining technology, meaning the Kage line you can't buy online, which is, in my opinion, I'm going to go on a little rant here. Daiwa are morons. I don't know why they decided to have this entire Kage line that is a product line exclusive to their dealer network. So they have made sure that you cannot go out and buy a Kage reel on a website and just have it shipped to your house like every other single product of theirs. The reason they did this is they wanted to throw a bone to their dealer networks to have a kind of exclusive product that they can sell in the shop and not have to worry about internet undercutters and code, guys who have codes to, drop 20, 30% off on a reel, so they could get bigger profit margins. So when you go into a shop that sells Daiwa stuff, they're going to have Kage spinning reels, they're going to have Kage rods, and they're going to want to sell those to you. They'll still give you a discount, but the price points are a smidge higher. So even with like a 15 to 20% discount, they're still making more profit. So the Kage line is frustrating to me because I think some of the products, like especially the rods, are really cool. They're essentially Daiwa Tatula rods that have some different powers and actions and are dressed a little differently. And actually, I think they have slightly better guides. So the thing is, if you want to check one of these reels out, you're not going to be able to go on Tackle Warehouse and buy one of these. You got to go to a local Daiwa dealer or a local shop that sells Daiwa and pick one up, or you're going to have to call them. A lot of dealers will sell these to you via a credit card transaction and then mail them to you. So, but they can't, list them online. You'll find them on eBay once in a while, and there are going to be some shops that are that say screw it and do sell it online. There's only a handful, but point is, what's not listed on the box is profit margin maintaining technology or anti-online sales technology. So it's just kind of some bullshit from Daiwa. I think it's ridiculous. This is a really interesting and cool reel that you can't just go and order and have it sent to your house in seconds. So if you're looking for one of these, Omnia Fishing does sell these just like most Daiwa dealers, but you will have to go into the shop or call them and fulfill an order. They will discount these things. I mean, I'm not sure if Omnia will, but many places will. You can get your typical discounts when you're ordering these things. But the fact is they can't just list them on a website with a button, add to cart, and sell them. Daiwa, you're kind of lame. I don't know why you guys do this. I think you need to dump the... I didn't think the Kage line would last this long. I thought it would be a flop and it would be gone within a year, but it's still kicking. They release really cool reels like this under the Kage name, which, it's unfortunate, but I have a feeling something like this is going to come out in the Tatula line at some point, maybe in the ballistic line. I don't know. This isn't going to be the last you see of Monoclock MQ reels. I think this is just the future. I think this is where Daiwa is going with all of their stuff. Obviously, it's not going to be in their cheaper reels. It's not going to be like a price point thing. It's going to be more for the people who want more power and a little more refinement and additional technology in their reels. Now, as far as smoothness, this thing is really, really, really smooth. This thing isn't broken in. I want the gears to kind of break in a little bit and get even better. But out of the box, this thing is really, really nice. One of the things I love about this reel is the sound of the bail click. I mean, that just sounds so solid. But for me, that's just, whew, that's just nice. I think the bail wires and the diameter and everything is essentially the same as on the ballistics. It's got that brass line. It's got that brass roller bearing right there, just like on the ballistic. I think these are the DNA for between this reel and the ballistic and the LT is, as far as the rotor design and everything, is kind of the same, but the body and the gearing and everything else is completely different. So this is your Daiwa for under $400. This thing is, this thing's on steroids. What's cool though is I think it goes down to a 1,000 size and up to a 4,000 size. So you salt guys are going to go for the 4,000. I don't know why you'd want one of these in a 1,000 reel. I'd love to see the people that are using Kage MQs at 1,000s. Are you fighting some really like crazy trout? But anyway, there's a lot of options in the size. This is the 3,000. Because of this really deep spool, I'm going to be putting a whole bunch of mono backing on this thing to kind of fill it up. Then I'm going to throw 10-pound braid on this reel to kind of get it out, fill it up. I'm not going to fill this whole thing up with braid because that's just going to be a waste of money. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of mono backing, then maybe 100 to 150 yards of braid, and then I'll go to a 4-carbon leader. I'm going to be putting this reel on a Megabass P5 Windbuster, and that's going to be a setup I'm going to use this year. So I think it's a cool reel. Price point's high, but you're paying for the latest, greatest stuff. So if you have any questions about the reel, anything you want to talk about in the comments, feel free to hit me up. But just letting everybody know kind of what they're getting into. If they're looking at this reel, you're getting a bigger, beefier, heavier saltwater and freshwater reel. This does have mag seal. Everything on this thing is going to be more water resistant. Like I said, check out Tackle Advisor's video where he kind of breaks down all the water, the anti-water technology that is in these reels. I'm guessing this reel carries over a lot of the design and the parts from the Surte LT. So when you're looking at both those reels, I'm guessing you're pretty much getting the same thing, except this thing has the Zion body, whereas the Surte LT has a full aluminum body. So anyway, that's all I got to say on this reel. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a little bit. And if you have any questions, let me know. So until next time, hit like, hit subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, Punch Fishing. We'll see you later.